feels wispy.
I'm going with a wet look today.
Yeah, and it looks good.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm wet looking at your hair.
Thank you.
This isn't therapy. This is not therapy. This is not therapy. This is not therapy. This isn't therapy.
Hello, hello, hello.
Hello, hi.
And welcome back
To another fun,
Flirty
fabulous
episode
of This Isn't Therapy. We're back to the finger bloops.
Bloop, bloop.
Yeah,
The
exactly.
beep, beep, beep.
Yeah, exactly.
What's your name?
The podcast about all the
Oh.
stuff people are talking to their therapists
Yes.
about. My name is Jake Ernst, and I'm a therapist. Who are you?
This
I'm
mic.
like-
This mic
No,
work.
I know. I am like
This mic work.
I am moving it around and I'm making it my
you're
own.
making sure everyone knows. You're on stage at the Apollo right now, is what I'm saying.
Well, part of it is because I have to Tina Turner it because
Yeah, that's
in order to look myself into the camera on YouTube,
Got it.
I need to kind of move it a little bit slightly.
Got it.
Anyway, who are you?
My name is Simon Palick, and I am not a therapist. But that's okay because
listen,
Jakey and I.
No one is keeping track.
No one's keeping track. No one's keeping score. The only people that are keeping score is the hockey game that is happening in heated rivalry because Jakey, I promise you we'll finish this intro, but Jakey is wearing something really awesome and cool. He is wearing
Repping.
a Boston Hockey Raiders jersey with number 10 Rosanoff on
Is
the
it number
back.
10 or 81?
Oh, maybe it is 81.
I think I'm number 81 today.
Oh, is it? Okay.
But in any case, yes, it does say Rosenoff.
Holodor. So anyways, each week on this podcast, Jakey and I, we're just two friends who like to have conversations about therapy themes. So we grab our grubbiest of grubby little paws, these ones right here, shishing, shishing, and we pull back the therapy curtain, we reach into the therapy room, we pull out a theme, a question, a query, a quandary, something that is floating around in the culture, and then we just have a casual Kelly couch conversation about it. Why?
Well, it's because therapy themes are everywhere you look.
That's right.
That's right.
You say that every single week.
I've been saying that for decades.
Okay, wait. Speaking of speaking,
Yes.
what are the therapy themes today?
The therapy themes.
Tina Turner.
The therapy.
Tina Turner Rosanoff is what's happening over here.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, this is
A
not
nice little
Jakey.
Before and after.
Yeah.
Love it. Today we are talking about
Mhm.
why Gen Zs are drinking less in segment 2.
Interesting.
But first,
Yeah.
we are going to get into this idea about oversharing online and this question, are we sharing more online than we're actually sharing in real life?
Okay.
Which I kind of love that question for obvious reasons.
Yes.
So we'll get into it. We'll take a quick break and then we'll zoom right back.
Okay. Love that.
Okay, BRB.
All right. See you on the rink. Wait, does that make me? What? Who am I? Am I Scott Hunter?
I hope so.
Or am I Hollander?
Hollander.
Okay. Ready?
Okay, bye.
Bye.
Fix your hair, fix your mug.
Fix your. What did we say last week? Start with an E. Eucalyptus. The thing.
I
start
think
with
I
an
probably
E?
said a lot of things that started
We
with
did
you
say.
last week.
Never mind. Someone
Yeah.
go back and find it.
And
Someone find the inside joke from last week and tell us about it, so then we could apply it.
Yeah.
Like as many episodes as we possibly
It's been too
can.
long, but listen. Guess
Um,
what? Wait, this is a
what?
great segue. Speaking of
speaking of speaking,
we share a lot of things online every single week.
like you and
on
I.
On
Yeah, yeah.
YouTube.
Yeah.
And so you can go check that out.
Yeah.
But here in this segment, we're going to talk about
Mm-hmm.
whether or not we're sharing more online than we're sharing in real life. Okay. So this comes to us from a beautiful Psychology Today article by Gwendolyn Seidman.
Love.
This, however,
Yeah.
and here's the twist,
Okay.
is from 2014.
That's almost like 2 decades ago.
Yes. It's 1 decade ago, but
Nope.
and it goes like this.
By the time this podcast comes out, it'll be 2 decades.
Oh, interesting.
Mm-hmm.
And it goes like this. I don't care, I share. Whoa, okay. Wait, what? I don't care, I share is the study that was being referenced.
Oh,
And
I thought that was the article. Like,
Yeah,
that's it.
I don't care.
Okay.
I don't care, I share.
Okay, cool.
And it goes on to say, this research examines how psychological factors like perceived control, over personal information and perceived risk influence people's willingness to share personal details on social media today. It highlights that as people engage with more with online sharing, they tend to feel safer and perceive less risk, which in turn encourages even more disclosure. This reflects a shift in how people think about privacy and vulnerability online compared with earlier eras of posting. So we're kind of in this place, right, where there is a lot of really early accounts of these types of dynamics that were happening, right? This is, again, 2014, where they're talking about how even the transfer to online worlds has sort of created this question of like, how much should we share? And is that actually real social connection? And so I, have been singing that song for a long time.
Yeah.
However, what are your thoughts on that? Maybe before we get into some of the facts around like whether or not we are sharing more online versus in person.
I feel like we are.
Yeah,
Spoiler alert.
but like how? Like what does that look like? Would you say?
But can I take your question and can I volley back when my initial reactions from hearing that is it was interesting that number one, that this article is from 2014, which is like 7 decades ago.
Yeah.
And number two, I also love the fact that this person was talking about like, why are people doing this?
Yeah.
And so it got me thinking like, oh, is it because it's harder to be vulnerable and look someone in the face and like be vulnerable in front of them? And is it easier to do it because obviously we have like a device, a mask, a filter that prevents us from having to feel that like direct, whatever that, you know what I say? You know what I mean?
Yes.
You know, the como se dice,
je ne sais quoi.
Je ne sais quoi. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and I think it facilitates that connection in a way that makes us feel closer than we actually are. It's quite fascinating. When in my work with a lot of young people, some of them will describe like talking to their friends or even like their crush like late at night, and immediately I get the sense of, wow, okay, they think that they're closer than they actually are. And so they describe this sort of story. The general themes are that they talk to their people at night, but they don't really talk in person. So maybe they like have a crush who they go to school with, talk to them on Snapchat, and then they go to school and they don't actually talk. They don't hang out. They don't schedule lunch. They don't
meet under the bleachers to kiss.
See each other on the weekends at parties, that kind of thing.
To kiss.
So it's a growing sort of trend that I think it sort of facilitates this idea like I'm connecting, I'm doing the social thing, I'm making friends, or I'm having the conversations, or I'm talking to people, when in real life that's not necessarily translating or happening. And I do think adults have our own version of that problem too.
Interesting.
Where we've sort of talked about it maybe a few weeks ago, where we do feel like there is this like upkeep, right, that we do online. And part of that is the sharing of updates. It's just so weird to me that we're in this world where we have to make these like PR reports about what's going on. Yeah. This is no shade to my friend who did this. I don't mean to be talking about your girl, but I'm about to. She just finished her PhD, which is very exciting. Yeah. And I on every single social media platform that I went to, it was this, hey everyone, I've been really absent from social media for the past 6 months. Now here's my LinkedIn post. Now here's my Facebook post. Now here's my Instagram post. And
like I'm back?
No, it's sort of just like a life update kind of thing. And again, like I'll message her and talk to her that I talked about this. However, because I also did talk to her about this. But part of where I think for me it gets fuzzy is that it's just so interesting that is our like culture, that we're kind of in that space of we have to be providing people with these sort of like signposts or these updates about our lives, where if we're seeing each other face to face, like we get the update, we kind of are doing it live, but all these people now sort of know these like milestones in our lives, like things like babies, weddings, all these things, because we've created a culture around sharing things online and opening up online. But I wonder how much of that and who's entitled to that, who should get to know that in person. I don't know. It's not a final thought. I'm just kind of thinking about it live. And again, this is nothing against the people who do it. I do it too. Yeah. I participate in that as well. Totally. I'm just sort of wondering if we're asking those questions around like, do we need this? Is this like something that is required? Because it feels a lot more like fake connection than real connection. Right. Like sure, you get like 100 likes on the post, or you get people DMing you and commenting saying
Mhm.
it, like, I don't know. I just did it for my birthday, like on my private Instagram page. It
Yeah.
was sort of like, hey, here's how the past month looked for me. Like,
yeah.
I just turned a different age this year. And why? I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know.
What do you how
I don't know.
okay, so if we because we've kind of talked about like, like obviously the digital whatever is not supplementary for like it's not equals
Yeah.
social connection. Like we know that, right? Because
Yeah.
we've talked about that. But is there a way that we can because I think sometimes people hear us being very critical about that.
Yes.
And they hear like, well, what do you want me to do? Just throw away my phone? Like, I guess I can't like talk to my friends, or like I'm not allowed to post the post. Right?
I love where this is going. Yeah.
So
agree.
what is actually the nuance of what we're trying to say, or what we're kind of having a not a this is what you should do conversation. We're just literally having a conversation about like, so what is the right way to interact with this thing? What is the right way to share with things online? Because I agree with you. It is like sometimes it is fun, sometimes it is nice to like
Yeah.
just give the update for everyone. I can also see like for me personally, like I use my Instagram a lot for like work, and it's such an easy way to like let a bunch of people know
Yeah. And
what I'm working on.
of course. And to like be proud of yourself and share
then
your stories. And,
Yeah, and like the career one is a little bit more like clean cut for me. But sometimes I'm like with personal stuff, I'm like, do I need to like no shade? Like, do I need to tell people it's my birthday?
Mhm.
Like
yeah. Yeah.
I don't know. Like I actually wrestle with that every
Yeah.
year where I'm like, do
totally.
I need to tell people this? Like I don't know.
Totally.
Like I don't know the answer.
I know. And
Mm.
if I was listening to this, I'd be thinking the exact same things.
Yeah.
And so where I arrive at this sort of question around like what's the right way to do it,
Mm-hmm.
I hope people hear that I'm not telling people the right way to do it.
I hope so too.
I'm not saying don't post on social media. I'm
Yeah.
not saying don't share with people you care about, especially online.
Yeah.
I'm more kind of bringing us into a different conversation, which is I hope that we are still doing both.
Mm.
I hope that we still get to do both.
Yeah.
So for me, it's not splitting either or, it's both and. I
Mhm.
think that both can exist. I just worry about what's being lost
Right.
if we're only doing it one way.
So
And
are you
I think typically what happens is people sort of send out the blast and then that's it.
Yeah.
And that's their form of connection, or that's their form of sharing online.
Right.
And so I think where this is going, just to push this segment along, is there's the oversharing and the vulnerability, the over vulnerability that happens in online spaces because the bar gets a bit lowered.
Mm.
And so we're seeing a lot more younger people like posting their crying videos or posting their like fights with their mom on TikTok, for example.
Yeah.
So there are kind of more extrapolated versions of this, that it's not just the successful things that are being shared. There's also all these sort of really public meltdowns or breakdowns or whatever downs. It becomes a bit of a spectacle for us to watch rather than as something for us to connect with and help people who need help or support people who need support.
Yeah.
It becomes a sort of viewership problem in my mind,
Mm.
where we're sort of watching these people live really successful lives or celebrate really awesome things or go through really hard and tragic things.
Right.
Again, like a TV show. And so
Yeah.
we feel connected to it in the form that it's a mirror. Like we might connect with certain parts of the story,
Yeah.
but I don't think that we can call that like real connection.
Mm.
And so really my whole point in raising this isn't to critique people. I mean, show up how you want to.
Yeah.
I'm all for people doing what they want to do.
Yeah.
I'm more so just in the camp of there might be another way for us to do this. And we
Right.
might need to shift some norms around how we handle vulnerability and sharing online, because I think the way this is going might lead to some negative effects that we don't really need.
Right. You know what I think about too? Like when I think about those like crying videos, it's like okay, so I'm doing this live. So it's like, okay, well, I'm glad you had a space to put something somewhere, right?
Mhm.
Like I'm glad you shared
Mm-hmm.
how you were feeling. Maybe the concern is like, well, then if you're going to get a bunch of people texting you to be like, how's it going? Like, oh my God, like, how can I help you? Are you just getting are you putting like a band-aid on a bullet hole kind of thing?
Is this like a gateway to
Is this
connection rather than just creating
it's like a
bridge?
temporary, it's kind of like building a house out of cards. Like you're just building like a temporary solution to something. Like if you got to whatever is happening that you're crying and you need to like post that online, it feels like a signal. Like it's like a call out.
Can I muddy the
right?
water a bit? I mean,
Yeah.
is this also maybe like just generations doing things differently? I don't know that answer.
Yeah.
I just wonder if, because I think about some of the photos that I posted onto a Facebook album in, let's say, 2010,
Yeah.
and I deleted them all because I was like, ooh, ew.
Yeah.
Why did
but
we post? Why did we do that?
I know, but the vibe of that, and maybe I'm coming to Your Honor, I'm coming to the defense.
Yeah.
Because it feels like for us, it feels like a bunch of kids who had like a digital camera and we were just being stupid, right? Like I don't remember the thoughts and feelings about that was I need to share this because I need likes and I need attention. I think it was just like, look, like, isn't this fun?
Well,
Like
here's
I remember
the
early
distinction.
social media was that.
Here's the distinction.
What?
I think we also had a lot of adults in our lives who were rallying around us saying, well, hold on, those things stay there forever. Employers look at that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
And now it is sort of that bigger version of that it maybe in this generation, they're still getting all that information.
Yeah.
But it might also be sort of tacked on with, for some kids, this like, I don't care, I'm being authentic. I don't care, this is me. This is who I am.
Right.
And I kind of need my space, my corner of the internet to be able to be me.
Like express myself in the way that I want to show up.
Mm-hmm.
But to that point, and again, people are allowed to live their lives in any way they want. I'm just curious about like who I was when I was 14 is not who I was when I was 21, who is not who I am now today at 75, you know? Like,
So do you think that means that like
I wonder if
generationally we're losing that like mentorship thing too? Because I know like Gen Z and millennials like have this unspoken beef. Personally, I think it's one-sided. I think they look at us differently than we look at them.
oh, I see. Yeah.
I just wonder if they're looking up to millennials in the way that millennials are like seeing older adults being like, oh, that's a way to live my life, or that's who I aspire to be like. I don't know if they're doing that same sort of reflection, like that self-reflection, right? That goes, oh, I want to do it that way. I really feel for Gen Z because I think that they inherited this world where a bunch of adults, we sort of came clean with them and we sort of said like, here are all these problems.
Yeah.
And so what you're seeing online and what you're about to see online is a direct reflection of the world that we're handing to you.
Yeah.
And that's stressful and confusing and complicated and frustrating and annoying
Yeah.
and upsetting. And
And
so
we're also going to give you this like level of technology that we don't even understand fully, but we're going to give it to you.
and hope that you can have a childhood
Yeah.
that you can look back on and feel happy about or proud about or okay with. And I just, that digital footprint conversation
Yeah.
is fascinating to me because I wonder what that will be like for a bunch of kids who were just testing out the technology
Yeah.
and now have a whole digital life
Yeah.
that is archived. I'm even just thinking about like all the things I look back on, like for example, my Snapchat account from like 2011, 2012. If I were to
Yeah.
sign back into it,
Yeah.
you would just see a bunch of like dog filters.
Yeah.
But like, what does their archive look like on these types of
Yeah.
platforms where they've lived their whole childhoods being archived, or also just having a whole collection of experiences that are digital?
Mm.
It's just different. And so that's sort of where, that's why I asked the question of like, is this a generational shift? Because yes, they do have different ways of doing things and experiencing childhoods.
Yeah.
We had like an entire baby album, you know, that kind of like defined my childhood in a lot of ways, and is in
You're
many
talking
ways,
about like a physical baby.
yeah,
album.
in many
Yeah.
ways, my only connection to stories and memories from my childhood.
Yeah.
And so, but for new generations, right, like they have whole like photo albums, and they have,
You have thousands
endless-
of photos by
thousands
the
of-
time they're 3 months old. Kind of
Yeah.
thing.
it's
Yeah.
just it's a different way of doing things. And I do think that we're going to see the pendulum swing. There's the shift. I think Gen Alpha is going to be the most private generation we've ever seen.
That's the gen that's coming up now.
Gen Beta is coming now.
Yeah.
But Gen Alpha, the shift to Gen Beta, I think they'll really want their privacy.
Yeah.
I think
It-
they're going to look at Gen Z and kind of go,
Like, yeah.
no thanks, we don't want that.
I wonder. We fall into this trap all the time because we
Yeah.
end up being like, oh, this is really interesting. Just for the interest of time, we should move on.
Yeah.
However, before we move on, Simon's going to keep talking. I'm
It's okay.
curious.
I had my time. Now you take yours.
I'm just curious about like.
I blabbed on. I'm sorry.
And no, I love it. I love anything that talks about like the intergenerational connection-y stuff. Like I'm just like frothing at the mouth
It's cool,
constantly
right?
because I find it.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like in a lot of ways, like the way that we kind of like turn to boomers and like millennials look at boomers, we see all like the shortcomings and we like, ha, boomer. And I think like as Gen Z got older and we started getting the blunt end of like, oh, that's so millennial, right?
That's chuggy.
Chugi, yeah, remember that.
Yeah.
But I think of like, I don't know, I remember for the first time feeling a little defensive, being like, well, because I had to be that way, like because our generation had to be that way. But then I look at like a very common trait that kind of goes through Gen Z is that there's kind of like this like a nihilistic, difficult POV that they have where there kind of is a like a, you know, like hierarchy and authority doesn't really mean anything to me, where I feel like we're still programmed to think that way. And I don't blame them.
Yeah.
Especially when like, look at the people who are in power.
Yep.
Or acting the way that they're acting.
Yep.
Like I wouldn't trust them either.
Yep.
So I'm just curious more and more like to that mentorship piece. Cause I feel as though millennials, we also had I think a lot of generations have this, but I think about that too. Like, cause we like technology was kind of like birthed in our lifetime. Like the a lot of the technology that we're using today,
Yeah.
right? Like we remember the rise of the internet. We also remember a childhood without the internet.
Yep.
We are the last generation to have that. That's wild. That is such a wild thing.
That's like the real before times.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
like the for real before times, and we will never have that time again.
Yeah.
Like that is wild to me that the generations to come, and I see at least like the young, like, you know, you and I both have young kids in our lives via our siblings and cousins and stuff like that. And I see the way that like our like millennial counterparts are parenting like those kids. And it's such an interesting, at least in my life, I'm seeing like the way that technology is a conversation in a way of like, well, we don't want them to participate.
And
As
here
for as
we
long as
are
we can.
in this space, broadcasting it live onto the internet.
on the internet.
Yeah.
And I'm just kind of like,
Yeah. How did we get here?
it's such a weird, I hope people continuously see that you and I are not trying to like be on our soapboxes, be like, "Mah, mah, 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 mah," but more
No.
so just like,
No.
yeah, we're caught in the messy middle too.
Yeah.
Like here we are talking about like go outside, create real connections. And yet at the same time, like, comment, and subscribe for this podcast.
But
like
it goes back
I'm-
to the main point. It's both, right?
Yeah.
It's not about either or.
But we don't-
No one is.
But we don't have that. Like, I don't feel as though, like, when we talk about the oversharing, when we talk about how we engage with the internet, from my little corner of the world, from my little perspective, it's like I feel more and more we are not being taught, trained, and encouraged to think about the messy middle as a both and. I feel more and more where it's like pick a side and hold true, and that's it. Forever and ever, amen.
Yeah.
And you're kind of like,
yeah. Fear, anger create the psychological defense to split and choose really polar sides, right?
yeah.
And so we get to this place where we don't know what to do about something. And so we feel like we have to choose an extreme.
Yeah.
That happens in all corners of life all the time.
Mhm.
And I think navigating back to the middle is always going to remain what we need. And so to handle change, you have to be able to balance that middle. Anyway,
But what if we don't know how to get there? To bring it back,
ongoing conversation.
but to bring it back to the oversharing online, right? To me, it seems like this was a conversation about how do we interact with this device that allows us to broadcast whatever thought, feeling, opinion that we have to the rest of the world. How do we?
Yeah, I mean, we shouldn't be shocked
How
that
do we
people go there
decide?
to use it as their kind of portal for connection. They're trying to reach out and connect with people or have people connect with them, right? And so, you know, I do think that there are, through like digital literacy programs and stuff like that, there are ways to learn these skills to teach young people to do it. I do a lot of it in my work,
Yeah.
but I think we all need to build our own relationship with technology in a way that works for us in our likeness, not in a way that we feel like we have to use it or it's designed, because these tools are designed to exploit our social instincts.
Mm-hmm.
They'll get you there.
And they'll keep you there.
They'll keep you there.
Can I ask you one final question?
One final.
One final for real.
Final.
I know
No,
I said
for
we're
real.
going to segment.
No,
we're going to segue and I said that like 10 minutes ago.
No, for real this time.
No, for real this time.
We're just having so much fun.
Because I love this conversation.
me
This is
too.
where you and I, like our worlds, like the things that we find interesting, like intersect.
This could be the whole episode. Let's just be real.
It could
Because
be.
and maybe we'll continue talking about it. We are going to continue talking about
I don't even know what our segment is.
Gen Z. This is the Gen Z episode.
Oh, yes, because we're talking about drinking.
Okay, what's your final thought?
No, it's a question.
Oh.
And I guess it's a hopeful one. So because you work with a lot of young people, right? And as Gen Z are getting older, Gen Alpha is coming up and then Gen Beta is just around the corner. If not, they're already here. What are you seeing in terms of hope in regards to that, like media literacy, not media, like technology, phones and stuff like that? Because I know you do a lot of work around that. What are you seeing that's shifting and changing for the better?
Ooh, I love this question. Because it's a new language, like building these literacy skills and technology skills, we call this digital citizenship. So like when you're learning this new language, right, you have to learn how to be a citizen of the internet. And so there are so many kids. Number one, I just have to say, Gen Z gets such a bad rap.
Yeah.
And they get, in this conversation specifically, it happens a lot with screens and mental health and phones. Kids just get so much flack. And there are so many kids who are using technology for good. There's so many kids that are using it to schedule the hangout and be in person. There are so many kids that are using it to not want to be there, right? They're saying, I use it because I feel like I need a social life. I need to be connected, but I ultimately don't need to, right? So there are many kids who are not going to be affected by this problem.
Yeah.
And I think we forget about that there are still many kids who aren't addicted, aren't so attached to their phones, can build healthy relationships with other people, all these things, right, that we worry about. So we have to remember not to pull the fire alarm on it and just remember that, yes, there's a lot of hopeful stuff that happens here in this generation of the first, what are called digital natives. And again, they're the first generation to go through puberty with a smartphone in their hand. We don't know what that looks like for them.
Yeah.
And so for me personally, I'm a tech optimist. I'm hopeful. I think that we can use it as the tool it's designed to be. And I think that Gen Z is going to lead the charge on that. I do.
Great.
And I want to do it with them.
And what can the millennials do?
Adopt a Gen Z.
Adopt a Gen Z.
I think I think that mentorship thing matters a lot to me. I feel like I get that need fulfilled through the work that I do in schools, and even just like having kids come up to me at the end of one of my speaking situations where they're asking me questions about it. Like I just love helping. I love understanding kind of like what it's like for them. And then I do that, of course, in one-on-one work with young people. But yeah, I think that anytime we can bridge the gap between generations, I think that's super great and healthy.
Love that.
Love it.
Okay, great. Thanks for that.
Well, we're going to continue it
We're going
because
to continue this conversation.
Simon's going to introduce kind of another layer of this sort of generational dilemma. Or generational difference.
Generational difference.
Yes. Okay.
Yeah, not a yeah.
It's not a dilemma. It's
not
a
a
difference.
dilemma.
It's a difference.
It's not a dilemma. It's not delivery.
It's
delicio.
Exactly. I've always said that.
Okay, so continuing our conversation about, I guess this is going to be so fun to do at the end where we talk about threading the needle. But so I saw, are you done?
Yeah, I'm done.
Are you done?
Yeah, sorry.
Okay.
I just had a moment.
Have your moment. Have your moment.
Okay, no, I took it actually.
Great. Are you done?
Yeah.
Cool.
If you're watching YouTube, you are literally...
You're getting the full story.
Yeah, thank you.
If you're not, you're only getting half. So I saw what you were sort of talking about, and I was like, oh, I'm a little bit more interested in kind of like, what is the response to? So we kind of touched on this, but I kind of stumbled upon this thing called a quiet life aesthetic, which seems to be like, I think it was very similar to like hot girl walks kind of stuff. Like it feels like a branded thing.
We're now naming a thing that already
and then
was
it
a
kind
thing.
of brought me down into a deep hole that I promise you by the end of this, it'll lead you to like talking about like why Gen Z and millennials are drinking less. So we talked about quiet. It was like this theme about a quiet life, and it'll go down to drinking less. So it's I'm basing this the first half of this about an article, which we'll link in the bottom. And the title of it is The Quiet Life Aesthetic, Why Gen Z and Millennials Are Trading Late Nights for Cozy Hobbies in 2026. And it's from MSN News. But I will, whatever. I will post it in the show notes, me personally. I will say, just a heads up, it reads more like a blog. It's not a news article. But it did bring up some really interesting points.
Cool.
So I'm just going to read the points it brought up, at least the ones that felt interesting to me. And the four are the reason why, or part of the reason why millennials and Gen Zs are building this quiet life aesthetic is because they're rejecting the hustle culture.
Right.
Their economic realities and the cost of living that are impacting that decision. They're prioritizing well-being over alcohol, and they're seeking real connection post-pandemic.
Ooh.
So I just want to like pause here for a second. I want to
Right.
get off the highway. I want to stop at this en route real quick with you.
Okay.
Having heard those four things, taking the lens of like someone who is like aware of behaviors in response to like things that are happening, when you hear that, what do you sort of see in that? Like the rejecting of the hustle culture, the economic realities and the cost of living, prioritizing well-being over alcohol, and seeking real connection post-pandemic. Like, why are these the reactions to these things? So another way of asking this is, like, instead of participating in hustle culture, why are you seeing from maybe the therapy couch, why are a lot of Gen Zs and millennials, mostly Gen Zs, rejecting hustle culture?
I don't know. I actually don't know.
Okay.
I don't know. I don't think, and the reason I don't know is because I don't think there's one answer. I think there's many different reasons like why someone may depart from kind of like a cultural norm or shift, right? The most clear one in my mind is sort of that very common pendulum shift that happens, whether that's from being different parents than the parents that we received, or going into a different profession than maybe what was modeled to us or told to us, or even some of these cultural norms, right? Things like I don't value capitalism in the same way that other generations have, or I don't want to overwork myself and create a culture of burnout. Because in many ways, like, again, we kind of forget that for the past 10 years, older folks have been telling that story about all the bad things about things like the 5-day work week and burnout. And we told them, we said, this is not fun. I'll never forget when someone said to me a couple years ago, this is a young person, they said to me, I look around at all the adults in my life and I don't see anyone that's happy. The adults around me don't look happy. And so what they were sort of telling me was that they were also kind of struggling with like getting older and just sort of that feeling. And, you know, because I was sort of providing that like mentorship at the time, like I wanted to like give them some good guidance. And my first instinct is to sort of be like, oh shoot, like maybe you're right. And then to think about like, well, if that's our only reference group for how to be an adult, then again, we shouldn't be surprised that like kids have mixed feelings about this stuff. Things, right? Like mixed feelings about a lot of things, like dating and drugs and drinking. And, you know, we provided like years of bullying education to kids and about like how to talk to kids their age, like in healthy ways to solve problems. And so we've seen a big reduction in bullying because of it. We educated kids about drug use and substance use, and we see a big reduction in it. I don't know if those are tied, but we shouldn't be surprised that, you know, kids are responding to the way that they were brought up. They've probably seen a lot of scary things. They probably, let's say alcohol specifically or substances in general. Yep. Some of them don't like how it feels in their body. They don't like feeling out of control or feeling like they don't know what's happening. And so, yeah, there are going to be generational shifts in all of these things. Yeah. Right. Like, I think growing up, like a lot of people, like smoking cigarettes was a lot more normalized than it is today. Yeah. Right. There are just these generational shifts, these pendulums that swing back and forth. Sometimes it's a direct reaction to what we saw. And sometimes it's just sort of a different way of doing things. Sometimes it's they figured out a better way.
Okay, so this is a good segue to go like, okay, now we're leaving the en route and we're going back on the highway, because I, for one, was like, oh, right, that conversation about like millennials and Gen Zs are drinking less, mostly Gen Zs. I would say like millennial Gen Z cusps. Just a consumption of alcohol has just decreased. And I was like, is that true, or is that just something that kind of like floated around the culture? So I found on the Canadian government website an actual study that was done in 2024, I believe, and it was called the Substance Use Survey. So the CSUS, and it was a summary for the results of 2023. Sorry, and it states that lower alcohol use among 15 to 24 and 25 to 34-year olds, so less alcohol in that age bracket, but then higher rates among 45 plus, which would be like Gen X and Boomer. And it was kind of like, yeah, but why? But why? Like, I understand that like things change and things maybe go out of style.
Can I give my just like immediate thought on,
Yeah.
on why?
Yeah.
On why?
Yeah.
I think it's because they already have something that they use to cope with it, which is screens and technology. They have their drug
Okay.
of choice. I think we just have different ways of departing from real life. We have a different way of what?
Because I had a
What?
whole no, but I was like, my point of this was like I didn't know the answer,
Oh,
and so I had all these like hypotheses planned out for segment
wait,
2.
no, I want to hear.
No. But this is great because I was literally like,
I want to hear.
this never happens where it's like you actually give an answer that's like, oh, I think this is it, right?
Oh.
Because we try not to do that, right?
Yeah.
But
I think every generation sort of has their ways of coping with things.
Wow.
We should remember that sometimes it's healthy coping. Sometimes it's within the normal functioning range where you can kind of maintain your life. It doesn't
Yeah.
add so much distress. But it's really hard to quote unquote raw dog life. We
Yeah.
all have things that we use to sort of notch it up a bit and to tone it down a bit, right? So we
Yeah.
all have things that change our stress responses and our nervous system states, whether that's caffeine or, alcohol, right?
Right.
Sometimes it's for fun and pleasure, and sometimes it's for just emotion-focused coping. And so we all have different versions of that. So Gen Z, for a lot of kids, it's screens, technology, pornography. And for a segment of kids, it's a lot more drug use, like vaping and marijuana use. They just have a different bucket that they're reaching into,
Right.
different grab bag,
Right.
right? But we're all at the casino. We're
All of
all
us.
at the casino.
We're all at the casino.
We're all at the same casino. We just are playing a different slot machine.
You know what? Like this episode has gone in a direction that I'd never planned it to go.
Yeah.
But I am like stuck thinking now. Each generation above us, below us, the one that we're in, have been due to technology, world events, government and policy changes, whatever it may be. We each are a product of whatever I guess is going on in the world. And you can see how all of us in the best of us are like thriving in a way that like works for the ways that like the tools that we had available to us or not available to us that we ended up finding. And at the same time, the other flip side of that is the coping. We're all coping with the same world that is happening right now. We're just arriving at it, different ages, with different life experience with us, with different tools and different manuals. I know that sounds so simple and stupid, but I don't think I realized it until right now.
Yeah, that this is a big there's sort of game theory to it, that we're all sort of in it.
But we're all in it. We're all experiencing the same. I sound like your favorite Disney movie, but like we're literally all experiencing the same thing.
Yeah.
Just the ways in which we are responding to that are different, and they are a product of whatever our world was growing up or our approach, like whatever manual we were handed.
Yes, and listen, it is if you can addict the people, you can control them. And if you can addict the people, you can convince them that that's a substitute for connection, which is something that humans need biologically to survive. Right? So it sort of creates this new dependency on these companies, these artificial forms of connection that humans never need. We never asked for any of this. That's the thing that frustrates me the most. That's the thing that gets me fired up. Is I'm kind of like, who asked for this? Who asked for that like red dye 5? Who asked for that specific level of aspartame that makes Diet Coke seem so amazing? None of us asked for that. We don't need that to survive.
Yeah.
As humans, we weren't sitting there being like, "Oh, you know what I really want is a Diet Coke."
Yeah.
But now we're saying, "You know what I really need is a Diet Coke."
yeah.
I find that so fascinating. And again, I do think that's the profit motive stuff behind capitalism and how they can kind of get us in to help them make money. And under the market of capitalism, that's the competition that gets created, right? Whoever can create the best product or whoever can get first to market kind of thing on the new thing, they win. And
Mhm.
in capitalism, there are winners and losers. And I think that these people are okay with there being a lot of losers. And I don't mean losers in a judgmental way. I mean it in a way that like we are losing, right? When we're losing that battle where we're giving so much of ourselves over to these companies.
Mm.
And so this is like, we're being mined in so many ways, like our sleep, our attention spans, our energy levels, our social connection and relationships, our loneliness levels. Like we are being mined, and that is not for free. There's a cost to us,
Right.
and we're paying for it.
And then I can see also the problem is being created, and then we're turning to the very same, like some sort of capitalism form to also fix the problem that the
Yes.
very system is creating.
Yes. So these phone
So
companies
buy
and
this thing, or
yeah,
have the app on your phone that'll lock you out of your phone so you don't use your phone too much. Like all just kind of like band-aidy solutions.
totally. I mean, the phone companies, the apps, all the things kind of surrounding it that are addicting, they were first to market with Gen Z. They won that race,
Yeah.
which means that they were the ones that got to them first and could capture their eyeballs, their attention
Mm-hmm.
on their products and
Who
get
should
them.
have got there first, do you think?
Well, I'm just saying. Well, let's think about our generation. Who
Yeah.
got there first was
Our
the
parents?
person. No, I'm saying I think the people that got to us first were the people who were selling this like rich social life, and alcohol was a part of that. And so there we married alcohol with social life.
Mm-hmm.
And so when you're at a young age in university, you can create this whole binge drinking culture that's like, because again, our generation and Gen X maybe with the first generations to really do that binge drinking thing, which is like where you're drinking all night, all day,
Yeah.
like
yeah.
12 drinks
Yeah.
or
yeah,
however many, right? Like before, it was sort of like there just wasn't that like, let's go crazy.
Yeah.
And let's like have this massive like rager kind of party.
Yeah.
And then you wake up so hungover the next morning. Anyway, that's a bit of a different aside.
Yeah. Yeah.
But it's due to advancements in technology, yes, but also due to just the way that culture shifts. It's sort of how I think about it. Like we just had a different problem on our hands, and someone else got to us first.
Yeah.
And maybe the advancements in technology means that there are a lot of people vying for Gen Z's attention. That's the thing that we also don't talk about enough, is that like Gen Z, if we think about the analogy of like hamsters or rats in a lab, like there are a lot of test subjects here, right, that are unfortunately being played with.
Yeah.
And that's where I come to this work feeling so strongly about like, stop putting them in a lab, let them run
Yeah.
free. Like this is ridiculous.
Yeah.
Y'all are making so much money off these kids
Yeah.
that it's hurting them. Like it's coming at a cost.
Yeah.
And maybe the cost, and I talk about this with kids a lot, like maybe the cost isn't immediate. Like the cost isn't today. You're not sitting here being like, oh wow, I really feel hungover right now because I just spent all that time.
Mm-hmm.
But the cost comes later, right? Because it's some of these bigger things like being present and being aware, connecting with yourself, building a sense of self,
Yeah.
having a friend group that you are connected to throughout your life, or at least for this stage of life. Even like attention spans, right? Those are muscles that we need.
Yeah.
Anyway, that is like a
No,
big,
but I hear your
conversation.
passion, and I
Yeah.
feel it. I feel it too, because I think it's so easy to just be like, "Oh, Gen Zs,"
That's boring. I'm
But
sorry.
It is boring.
That's
and
a
I
bo- that's
and
a
I
boring
but I look at that
conversation.
too, and I just feel like an immense amount of sadness, because I'm like, I wonder, and I'm hopeful, and I'm not the expert on this, but I feel as though maybe we let them down quite a bit, our generation.
100%.
And I think, I hear that, I'm like, who is the adult in the room
Literally.
that was supposed to help them and protect them? And I'm not pointing to actual adults. I'm just wondering who was supposed to help them, because I feel like Gen Z, it happened. It's kind of whatever it may be, and it's not going to be until the next generation that we kind of get, okay, let's not do that, let's do this, right? And that
Well,
just kind of makes me sad.
Finger pointing in general, finding who's to blame isn't
Yeah.
going to solve the problem.
Okay, true.
That isn't
True.
going to get us to that place. That's why, when we say like, oh, Gen Z, they're always on their phones or they're so addicted to social media.
Yeah.
The reason why I say that's a boring conversation is because I don't think that's generative. That doesn't really help us move towards solutions.
Yeah.
And it also doesn't show me that like we're putting some thought and critical thinking into this.
Yeah.
That there's a reason why that we got here. Like they didn't get birthed with the phone in their hand.
Yeah.
Like we gave it to the Mary.
Tina Tanya.
Like we put it in their hands. Like these companies created this
Yeah.
product and then we said, yeah, that's a great substitute for a third space or a friendship. Like,
Mm-hmm.
we got here somehow. And I like your question earlier around hope, because I do think that's typically where I end my conversations when I work with families
Mm-hmm.
or with kids in kind of bigger groups.
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot of hope here that we tend to miss. And I do think that we're going to figure this out. I do think that the pendulums, naturally as they do,
Yeah.
they're going to shift, and we're going to be forced to adapt to a new technology, as we mostly do, and we will adapt. This is like an adaptive pressure, adaptive stress that we have
Mm-hmm.
because it's new, and we're adjusting to it still.
Mm. I hope so.
Yeah.
I hope so.
So let's take a quick break.
Okay. If we ever
Let's
needed to
resurface.
resurface, it's now.
Let's resurface.
Let's resurface.
And we have a lovely question from a lovely listener
Do we? A second one?
to end off this episode.
Love
So
that. All right.
I'll see you there.
I'll be right back.
Okay, bye. At the end, the finale of every episode,
Every single episode.
we like to resurface. We like to come up for a breath. And
I missed the cue.
yeah,
I was on my phone. Sorry. Typical Gen Z.
Oh my god, get
Typical.
off your phone. We like to just come back and just sort of like reset so that
Mhm.
we can send you off at the conclusion of this with maybe like a new thought, a new idea,
Mm-hmm.
but also maybe hopefully a new direction also. So we like to do our lovely segment, Asking for a Friend, where you just submit your questions, your queries, your quandaries to beautiful people like me and Simon.
Rosenhoff and Hollander.
And we just get to answer your questions like a friend,
Yeah, that's it.
not a therapist.
Not a therapist.
You know?
Yeah, yeah.
So without further ado,
And without further ado,
this is
Asking
Asking
for
for
a
a Friend. Listen.
okay, so this lovely listener asks, asking for a friend, what's something people commonly blame themselves for that's actually a very human response? Ooh.
You know what I think this is in response to?
What?
I think for like many weeks now, we've kind of been talking about this. This like, oh, that's so human. Or like, yeah, these reactions make sense. Like,
Right.
I think that we've kind of been living in that territory for a long time.
Oh, that's true, because we did that
So, like,
anger episode that we kind of talked about.
I
like
just
that.
understand the
Okay.
question. Like, I think we have been talking about that, but I wonder if the love listener is also kind of like, okay, but what else? What other kind of things do we blame ourselves for? Things that are just like very human responses.
Well, what do you say?
Oh, okay.
What say you?
I think one of my biggest ones is probably distractibility. I think all humans have this innate human like thing we do, which is like we dart our eyes to something that gets our attention,
Yeah.
which means that other things kind of fall out of our attention and fall to the wayside.
Mm-hmm.
So things like forgetfulness or things like, being unfocused, or kind of like, you're watching a TV show and your kind of mind is drifting, or in a friendship, you kind of like don't check in with them for like a week and a half, or you don't follow up. Those are like just human things that we do that, because our focus is pulled in many directions all the time,
Mm-hmm.
that's human. That's so human. And I think we tend to blame ourselves if we don't feel like we're a good friend or a good coworker or a good partner, or we're not showing up in the right ways. But like, that's what humans do.
That's like honestly so human.
That's so human.
That's so human. It's the future I can see.
That's
I blame
so
myself for that.
human.
Actually such a human response.
No, I just think it's so human.
Well, you know what
It's
I
so
think?
Human.
Not
No.
like doing the dishes, like not doing a chore because you're too tired.
Yeah. That's so
I think
human.
that is so human.
Wait, we need a new segment.
That's so human.
Can we call it That's So Human?
Honestly, that's so
Where we just like
human.
make statements and
Yeah.
we're like, oh, that's so
That's
human.
so human.
That's so human. Humans
Honestly,
do that.
Honestly, choosing in this weather, in this literal climate, me choosing my Blundstones over my actual winter boots
That's
because
so
the
human.
Blundstones are cuter.
That's
That's
so human. That's so
That's
human.
so human.
Honestly, like forgetting to wear a toque
Yeah.
out in the winter
Yeah.
and just wearing my ball cap.
Yeah.
That's so
That's
human.
so human.
That's so human.
You know what? Calling it a toque and not a hat,
yeah.
that's so Canadian,
That's
which is
so
so
human.
human.
That is so
I
human.
love that.
Honestly, dropping my groceries all over the floor this morning.
Why?
I was
Like, did it break? Not like, why did you do that?
literally, I was in the grocery store and the bag broke, and it was one of those like little like you reusable ones, but it was like
the
it was on
clothy ones.
it was on its like last legs,
Yeah.
and it broke, and I was like,
What broke? Like, what broke on the floor?
Oh, no groceries broke.
Okay.
The strap broke.
Yeah. Broke.
The strap
With the T?
broke.
Yeah.
The strap broke, and then my groceries spilled. And you know what I said?
What?
That's so
so
human.
human.
That's so human.
That's so human. Wait, side question. This, whatever.
I was so annoyed. But
I would be too.
It's so
What
human.
is something that you have dropped in the grocery store where you're like, oh, that's so human?
Oh, actually, this is when I was in high school. I was grocery shopping with my mom,
Mm-hmm.
and I dropped a jar of ragu spaghetti sauce onto the floor. And you know what I said?
What?
That's so human.
That's so human.
So I dropped it, and I was mortified. I was beside myself.
And it exploded and went everywhere.
Yeah.
Crime scene in aisle 4.
Literally looked like a blood crime scene. And so
Love.
so my mom said, "Well, you know what to do." I thought she meant I had to clean it up. And so I like said, "Well, should I go ask for like a mop?"
Yeah.
And she said, "No, go get the clerk. Like go get the person."
This happens all the time.
She meant like go get the person. She's like,
Yeah,
"You
yeah,
have to
yeah,
go
yeah.
tell the adult." And obviously as a high schooler, I was like, "No.
I can't. I did something wrong.
I have to admit it." And so
That's
she's
so
like, "You know
human.
what you have to do." I thought she meant I had to clean it up.
That's so human.
Anyway,
That's so teeny bopper
what's something that
human.
you've dropped?
Rotisserie chicken. Like, like the little
And then
paper
it flew
handle.
away.
And it flew away. It came back to life and flew away.
Yeah.
And I was like, that's not human.
Yeah. That's not a human.
That's not a human.
Can't.
And I'm so glad I didn't eat that. All right. Well, thank you, lovely listeners, for being here today at this lovely, long, wonderful conversation and episode. If you like what you heard, you know what to do. Like, comment, subscribe, all that fun stuff.
Yeah.
Find us on all the social medias. We're there. And we truly, truly, truly love to hear from you. So if you have anything that you want to say to us, you like the episode, you have a question, you have something that you want to submit for asking for a friend, go to the show notes. But even just like
Drop it in.
DM us, send a comment. Like, that stuff really helps just because I don't know, it's nice to hear from people. Otherwise, it's just Jake and I just talking,
Love it.
you know?
Okay. See you next week.
See you next week. Thanks for being here.
Love ya. Bye.
This isn't therapy.
Hollander.
Oh, my foot's always asleep.